Unfortunately, we lost the charity match. But you guys came out. Let's go.
Hang on a second. Who's that handsome young pixel? It's me. Probably. The Sidemen have officially brought back the annual charity football match, playing in London for the first time in 4 years, since 2018. It doesn't feel that long ago, but do you know how much life has happened since then? KSI has dropped 3 albums, dropped 3 Donnies in the boxing ring, and started dropping Reddit videos. Yeah. That's how long we're talking. I had the pleasure of going in person, which I'm still quite surprised about because the ticket queue was like 80 years. I panic bought the first seats I saw and thought they'd be right stinkers, but the stadium turned out to be perfectly sized so you'd be able to see no matter where you sat. Aww. Except behind this f***off pillar at the front. You can't win them all. I went with my mum because as a YouTuber, I don't have any friends, and everybody I do know happen to be the only people that don't know the Sidemen. I'll say this now, I am not an avid football fan. I've maybe seen like 5 matches in my life, not including ones I've participated in. Though I was the first 6-year-old in my football club to rank up to a class with the older boys, which really freaked me out. So I never played football again. Travelling by train, I was getting airdropped random pictures of people flexing their tickets for whatever reason. And when we got to the stop, every single person stepped out of that train. It was like an agitated bee nest the way everyone swarmed out the doors, leaving nothing but trash behind, and some deep-rooted complex insecurities, probably. Surprised I didn't see Joella there, to be honest, though he was probably already lurking in the car park outside the stadium the night before.
We need to see a Joella v KSI too. In a car park, mate, in an actual car park.
It was astounding seeing the dynamic range of people that were there. And this isn't something I thought I'd say, but I didn't expect Sidemen fans to look so good. I imagined a heap of little dweebs, but they got quite the sophisticated bunch. For the most part. After being herded like cattle, we arrived at the Valley, where we were met by TV screens with Unknown P, or Munya wow, that guy. Riding round in a rover. If I see ops then it's over. Doing a tin. He was mainly doing the pre-show and interviewing any and everybody that entered the pitch that weren't security or fans. Walking around the main area, there were stands for Sidemen clothing, which I wanted to buy, but again, the queue was like 80 years. There was definitely a missed opportunity to include samples or stands for Sides, Prime and XIX vodka, because though they were heavily advertised at the event, I still haven't got my grubby mitts on any of them. Maybe not all for the same reasons. Getting to our seats, Unknown P was commentating some kid shooting a goal. I know I'm not the only person that thought this, but I really wish the goalie would just like, you know. Toby and Manny actually snuck out with their baby. Not their baby. How do I say that? Toby's baby nephew. There we go. They held his hands and let him play with some balls for a bit. It was really wholesome. I actually got a wave from Toby on his way back off the pitch, so get out. Chase and Status did a cheeky performance. If you don't know who they are, neither did most of the audience really. Bro, I'd be busting down and throwing back the whole dumpy and everyone around me was not having any of it. Good tunes though. I forgot that physical audiences just don't hear the commentators. I thought Stephen Tries was lacking on the job because all we heard from him was confirming scored goals. But the whole event was live streamed, so the viewers at home got a completely different experience.
KSI giving the ball away. He hasn't struggled this much with the passing since Morpheus died.
I caught Tommy in it helping with the camera work at one point. Very nice for him to offer his services at such an important event. What do you mean it's not him? I mean, that's clearly Tommy in it. Like, who else would wear that shirt? Are you dumb? My dickhead.
I'm trying to clickbait, guys. Just play along, alright?
The crowd roars as both teams finally show their faces for the warm-up. All sponsored by Specsavers. Heavily sponsored by Specsavers. Can't see the match. Vision blurry. Funny men too far away. Get taunted on, bitch. You should have gone Spec. Ah. Though the distance was great, even if you didn't know who any of them were, it was clear to see who the alphas were. Maybe not in their footballing ability. I think you know where I'm going with this. IShowSpeed, without wasting a second, made his presence known. And striding out the field in a cape with the flash on it. Because he's fast and cool. Not like Ezra Miller.
Did you want to fight?
He then finished off his entrance with a
Cristiano Ronaldo.
winning over the audience without breaking a sweat. Speed is like the modern day equivalent of what old KSI would be today.
I like 15-year-old girls!
For some reason, cheerleaders would constantly come on and circle the field. I didn't even know cheerleading was really a thing in England. They only ever did like one move as well. I don't know what the point of it was. Stick JJ with them in a tutu, then we can talk. On the topic of JJ, man had the audacity to run round drinking Prime like it's nothing. Where's mine? Riddle me that, Batman. The warm-up in a nutshell was a sight to behold. Nico looked physically rusty. Deji missed his shots, and Speed was actually being a pro. Huh. It's almost as if his persona is different from his real-life personality. No, that can't be possible. A big TV screen parallel to me turned on like I was suddenly in a Saw game and I thought my time had finally come. It was Ethan Behzinga giving some heartfelt awareness about cancer and charities. I'm a dickhead.
I just made eye contact with Vic Star 123.
Willeni had this thing like strapped over him that for some reason I thought was like a handicap thing, because like from far away you couldn't tell that it was a GoPro. I don't know how he managed to play with that bobbing around on him, but he got his video. And just like that, the kickoff began. How many minutes are we into this video? Unsurprisingly, Speed went directly for KSI. I don't think he had any other motives going into this game, if I'm being honest. Pretty sure this guy's also the same age as me. Not so tough now, are you, JJ? What are you doing, man? You're fighting Jake Paul next year and you're out getting got by teenagers. What's gone wrong? Set his team up for disaster. It hadn't even been 10 minutes and they were already losing 2-0. I may not know much about football, but there were many instances that were very clearly fouls that the ref was just like... Some people just want to watch the world burn. There was a lot of player substituting, but also not at the same time. Everybody got substituted at least once. And I say that with full intent. They chucked Nico off for Deji, and Rotashaw played for 89 out of the 90 minutes and only ever had 1 assist.
Harry's got good heads, you know. That sounds a bit mad out of context, actually.
That thick Guernsey skull has finally come in handy. I'm so happy for Vic, man. Every time he got brought back on or got near the ball, the crowd would go nuts. And it paid off as well, as Vicstar managed to even the playing field by getting Sidemen FC their first goal of the match.
What's up? Vic! For India! For India! Yeah!
What can I say? Vicstar 123 is the ideal man. Every time a goal was scored, the crowd would cheer, and every time the goalie caught it, people would applaud. It didn't matter who was winning because everybody was supporting both sides. Hardcore football fans be like, "What? There's no street fights every time the other team scores a goal? You're making a mockery of this sport!" Again, Joe Weller's probably peeping his head in. Or Bryce Hall.
I've been in probably over 40 street fights.
I'm not a fighter. I've never claimed to be a fighter.
Probably not, actually. I don't want to retell the entire match, so I'm gonna gloss over it. Sidemen managed to pull it out of the bag with an 8-7 win after being dragged by the All-Stars for the first 85 minutes. Stylishly pulling a pro-gamer move, clutching up with the last conceivable moment. It was a really good match. To quote my mum, "This is so much more entertaining than a normal match. Everybody is so shit that it's so easy for anybody to score goals." Emphasis on anybody. You have no idea how excited I was knowing Cal Freezy was playing. If you know, you know. Chris MD played really well but completely fumbled it, as he had a good grasp on the ball but didn't have the ability to take a shot after so many opportunities to take one.
Oh, Chris, what are you doing?
I thought Simon was having a stinker, to be honest. But he's got like a 10 in 10 rating on FOTMob, which is apparently higher than Messi and Ronaldo, which is a bit mad. So my eyes must be bugging. I feel bad for Deji because I forgot he was even playing. He wouldn't really do anything. Though he did say after that nobody would pass to him, so it feels bad, man. I'd like to take a moment
Just sit right there.
to actually acknowledge how sick the player lineup was. The fact Mr. Beast was there blows my mind. Well, obviously he'd be there because it's like a massive charity event, but the biggest YouTuber on the platform with over 100 million subscribers was just there in front of me. That is a guy I never thought in a million years I'd ever be in the direct vicinity of, but I guess we're living in the good timeline, eh? Carl joined them on Sidemen and Chris and Chandler were on All-Stars. In hindsight, it's no wonder Sidemen won, because if there's anything I know about Chandler, it's that his win-to-loss ratio is very much in the negatives. I also can't pick out a single thing those two did in the entire match. Pull your weight, lads. If you're familiar with me, you'll know that I quite like my Minecraft, so seeing GeorgeNotFound was a highlight. I saw his name on the announcement list and was just like, Really? Seeing him with the others, I noticed that he's really got that like traditional gamer posture. He stayed mostly in the back during playtime, and whenever he actually got the courage to go for the ball, KSI would be there ready to manhandle this innocent child. Maybe to let off a bit of steam after being put to shame by a 17-year-old. But it's just so weird. If you had told me a year ago that I'd be going to a stadium to watch GeorgeNotFound play a bit of footy, I would have ignored you, because not only is that such a random thing to say and I hate you, there's not actually an end to that. Randolph was just jokes. He did not want to be there. Oh, ball's coming this way? Bro lost all his energy just getting tapped in. In the second half, as predicted by most of the players, Speed ended up getting a yellow card and was the only player to do so in the entire game. Is anybody surprised? The hype was up for Speed to score. He was the Vic Star of Vic Star. And he actually managed to do it. The crowd goes wild, and then he took his shirt off and it didn't even count. There was a lot of wholesome fan interaction at the match. And when I say wholesome fan interaction, I mean people illegally running onto the pitch to get tackled and thrown out by security. Like, it was funny the first time and quite entertaining. To be the first person to do it takes a lot of balls, so you gotta respect it. Then the onslaught of absolute losers that followed made it so long. They really are like swarming bees. There were so many people running onto the pitch that the security just gave up. But because of it, they cancelled the finale of the show, which was the trophy presentation, ruining it for everybody. Fucking cunt. I caught a group of them that ran on the pitch, and the way they were talking about it was just so cringe. It actually kind of infuriated me. I didn't do anything though, because they would have had my head. I found that out as when I walked out, I saw them scrapping with the security. Though all they did was shout, "And what?" And without really saying or doing much of anything, just being really loud and obnoxious. Not the KSI kind, which is probably what they were attempting. And that was that! The Sidemen charity match had come to a close. The event managed to rack up over £1 million, which is such a great achievement. There were a lot of players and moments that I didn't get to talk about, but this video is long enough and I am rapidly running out of time to post this. After the match, the audience clumped around all exits of the building like a pack of crows. I don't know what they were expecting to see, because there's no way in hell anybody's going to come through those doors with a crowd like that. And I ended up standing next to a couple of vloggers who turned out to be actual YouTubers, unlike myself, obviously. I didn't know who they were, but I got stuck as everybody started pushing into them, making me have to crawl my way out, successfully living to tell the tale. Sorry this video is so late and for the lack of content at all this year. I've had such a busy schedule, but I'm here now. Consider subscribing and more videos are soon to come. I think I'm out of practice with this, you know. I hope this isn't cringe. I really hope this footage isn't cringe.